by the moonlight.
Hey guys, what's up? In today's video I'm gonna play Riftwalker and tell you what I think about him, and also talk a bit more about mid-wars in depth and talk about some other things too. So this is gonna be kind of a talk video, and this gameplay you see in the background, this was actually recorded earlier and I was not commentating this live, and I want to try to do something that other casters do a lot, like the vast majority, if not pretty much almost all of them. They do a non-live commentary. They record it post-recording. They just talk over their gameplay afterwards. So it might not seem like it, but trust me, it's much harder to commentate live and try and make sense of it, because you have to concentrate on the game. There's music distracting you, there's stuff in game distracting you, and you also have to keep a train of thought. And yeah, it's not easy, by far not easy. So let's hope that my voice just doesn't die, because this video is pretty long. So I'm just gonna be commentating the Riftwalker, for which I didn't use the alternate avatar. Some of you asked me just to use it when I played, so here I go. But I'm not playing a normal game, I'm playing mid-wars. So top plays, you have seen me submit, I mean not submit, I haven't submitted my own top play. You have seen a top play at the start of this video. You can also submit your top plays by sending me a private message on YouTube. And please remember, if you use the send message box instead of using my channel to send the message, I am not SomaZ on YouTube, as odd as it sounds. I am SomaZ S, with an S on the end, because some douchebag took SomaZ. Unfortunately. I still have nightmares about that. But the easiest way to make sure that I get your message is to go to my channel page. Like, you will see that it's my channel page with the giant logo and the amount of subscribers, that it's not some fake. And on the right where it says about, just look down, there will be by SomaZ, my username. You can click the arrow right next to it and use send message there. That will guarantee that I get your message. Try, if you can, please not post it in the video comments or on my channel comments, your top play. When you submit it, all you need is a match ID, a time, and please specify if it's in-game time or replay time when your moment happened, and a short description of what happened if you can, and perhaps either the hero you were or your username in HoN. So it doesn't have to be super uber skillful plays, you can submit funny stuff as well. So I accept that too, and it may be featured at the start of the video. If I'm not lazy, that is, which I hopefully am not. So that covers the top plays. Another thing I'd like to mention, which I have mentioned like 10,000 times already, do not private message me in HoN if you can. If I'm not in do not disturb mode, do not private message me, whisper me instead. Private messaging is opening the box in the top right corner in your HoN client. Don't do that. Just whisper me instead, okay? Trust me, because my private messages are broken and I don't really feel like reinstalling my game just to fix them. Just whisper me. You will vastly increase your chances of me replying, and me replying really quickly, perhaps even instantly. So, and don't spam me too much, just usually asking once, hey SomaZ, are you playing, is enough. Try not to spam, but you know, that's not the biggest issue here. Just try not to private message me. Another thing is the poll. What is this poll? Where can I vote for it? Go on my channel page, just on my channel, youtube.com/SomaZ, and yeah, that S in the end, just nightmares. In any case, you will see a giant vote button, like a picture of a vote next to the big letters SomaZ. Just click on it. It's clickable, just click on it. It will take you to the poll and vote for as many heroes as you want and press vote at the bottom. And that's it. Then you will also see which hero is ahead in the votes, which brings me to the next topic. Do not ask me to play a specific hero, because I can't really play a hero just because you ask me to in the comments, or perhaps just in HoN, because, well, you want me to play one hero, but 20 other people want me to play a different hero. I mean, it's not really fair. You have to be special or something for me to play it. In any case, I've mentioned this before. Yeah, you can write it, okay, you can ask me, but the chances that I'm gonna play it, really, really low. So what happens if I'm in Do Not Disturb or I'm AFK? How can you get to me? Like 100% chance that you will get to me, that I will read your message, is to private message me on YouTube. If I won't always reply, but I will always read it and reply if it's something really important. But yeah, private message on YouTube will guarantee that I will read it. So that's good. If you post it in the comments, there's a 99% chance I will read it, but there is a chance that I will miss your comment, unfortunately. So right now I'm playing in public games because, yeah, S2 just derped and hurt. The servers aren't really working that well, unfortunately. But public games are. I think at the moment of the recording of this video, matchmaking is more or less fixed, and so is the chat server, so should be fine, but in any case it will be fixed, don't worry about it. So as always, I'm trying new quality, new sound quality, new video quality, increasing the gamma a bit so that it's a bit brighter, because I received a kind of complaint or suggestion, feedback, whatever you call it, that please make the videos a bit brighter because it's dark and your eyes get tired. And I was like, yeah, sure. Now this is good feedback. This isn't like, oh well, SomaZ, your build sucks, and you don't even mention what would be a better build or why. And like someone tried to argue with me how you should get spell shards when spell shards is a pretty bad item. Trust me. A lot of people did the math, including me. Competitive players will agree. It's not that good for the gold you spend, really, and it's countered by Mystic Vestments completely. Like a 4,500 gold item countered by a 400 gold item. So yeah, don't be afraid to mention builds. If I agree with you, something I missed perhaps, then yeah. Oftentimes though, when I agree, I simply won't reply, but you can be sure that I read your message, even if it's for an old video. You know, I receive notifications for this stuff. So some new music added in this video. You will hear it at some point perhaps. Just found some more artists, some good songs, Creative Commons and stuff, and also updated the description slightly to also include the links to the artist pages. So perhaps if you like a song and you think the artist is good, you can go and check him out, because, you know, he might have songs just like that one, like very similar ones. He's probably making songs in the same genre. And also, I do this because, well, they make music and they deserve credit, and people deserve to know. It's like not someone named music. Like, they spend their time making this amazing music, and I think they deserve more exposure. And I would give them more exposure if I could, so I'm just doing my best to keep it fair. And yeah, they make really good music, but just they're not very known yet. Or perhaps just my taste, but you know, music tastes are different. I like dubstep right now at least. And no cursor problem. If you don't see a cursor, then I apologize. Sometimes I forget to turn it off after recording a top play, but in this case you can see the cursor is there. When I don't forget it, I will fix it, but most of the videos will have a cursor, so don't worry about it. So let's move on to actually talk about the gameplay. So mid wars, you know, I like to analyze stuff. I'm more of an analyzing guy and less of an emotion guy. You could say I'm almost emotionless, pretty much, except for laughing sometimes when something lowly happens. But here are the general rules of mid wars as I see them. You have to come to the mid lane, obviously the only lane, and stay within experience range for as long as you can. The experience range has been increased, so you don't have to stay as close to the creeps, but stay there as long as you can, and this includes not dying. Stay alive for as long as possible, because as soon as you die, that's experience you miss, and you will fall behind in levels. Right now, as you can see, I'm the highest level on my team, and I will be level 7 shortly. I will be the first level 7 in the game, I believe. So yeah, I just try make sure that I stay within experience range. That's pretty important here, and try not to die. The gold gain is still the same, although the experience tables have been changed. If you don't know what that means, basically you level up faster. Not really casual mode, since you don't get, well, similar to casual mode, but just different. Level up faster. I'll just keep it at that. Now the gold stays the same, except for hero kills. Hero kills give you more gold, and of course, since creeps give you the same amount of gold as before, and there's like 10 people contesting last hits, you won't be getting any gold from that, or much at least, unless you specifically farm on them. So expect most of your gold in mid-wars to come from hero kills and hero assists, especially first blood. That sets you far ahead. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Another thing important to note is keeping your allies alive, especially if you get a few kills and you have the gold. Just use your health potions on your allies. I believe I did this in the video quite a few times. And just try save your allies if you can, because remember, heroes are most of the golden experience you will get in this game, not the creeps. So keeping your allies alive isn't just doing them a favor, it's doing yourself a favor, so that the enemy team doesn't get as fed and farmed. So yeah, use a health potion on your ally when you can. It's not bad, it's usually worth it. Also, when a bunch of you die or get low in health, make sure that at least one hero always stays mid, near creeps when they are dying, because the experience is split between everyone if they're near, but if no one is near, that experience is wasted. You'll never get it back. That's it. The experience is lost. So always try get it when you can. So those are the general rules of mid wars. Again, I repeat, stay near the mid, and experience is one of the most valuable resources here. And that's why also denying is really important. I would say that denying in this mode is going to be more important than last hitting, because denying still has the same rules. For ranged heroes, they only get 1/3 of experience, and for melee heroes, they get 2/3. But deny, you can't really focus on denying over last hitting, because this will set the enemy team behind in experience by quite a lot. If you theoretically deny every last hit, then the enemy ranged heroes will lose 2/3 of all experience gain. Yeah, and melee heroes 1/3. So deny as much as you can. Yeah, I'm not denying that well, but you know, that's me, I'm just bad. So what heroes to pick in mid wars? Well, ranged heroes are very good, of course, but more importantly, heroes with nukes and stuns are really good, and just general disables. Because if one hero is caught out of position, your allies can just jump on him with those disabled stuns and nukes and just finish him off really fast. And that happened to me quite a few times. So heroes that nuke are pretty good in this mode. Heroes with good range too, but melee heroes, you know, there's a trade-off when you play a melee hero, because you lose less experience when someone denies creeps. So keep that in mind. But in general, ranged heroes have an easier time in this mode, simply because they can kite you when they get late game items like Frostwolf Skull and, let's say, Genjuro, which slows you down, and you simply cannot get close to the enemy. Yeah, simple as that. So most of the time ranged heroes are better, but you know, you can get melee heroes. Especially Devourer is crazy good, but you know, he has range. So heroes with stuns and bursts are really good. Another thing to mention is neutrals are there. I don't know how pro you'd have to be, but sometimes when you've killed the creeps mid, perhaps you can go top, and of course the rune is there, and kill the creeps. That's just bonus experience and gold you can get. So when there's a lot of action going on, and you're perhaps going top or somewhere else, chasing heroes, try to still stay close to the enemy creeps, so that you don't miss on the experience, because oftentimes when you chase a hero, you just forget about everything, just think, oh, I gotta kill this guy, nothing else matters, oh, I'm gonna tower dive. Just look at the creeps and try stay near them. You know, there's the diamond near the creeps health bar, that indicates that you're within experience range. That's pretty important. So, items for mid wars, of course, matter vary, which is pretty ridiculous in this mode. I don't always well, not always, but most of the time I don't suggest upgrading it to a power supply, because you will be getting, most likely you will be getting late game items, and a power supply will be a waste of space, a waste of an inventory slot. So just get it early, but sell it later when you need better items. And also, I think to mention is, when you can, use your mana battery if it's full, because when it's full and enemies are casting skills that's just wasted mana that you could have gotten otherwise, just spam some skills, use it, and start collecting charges again. So, I've mentioned that. Other good items in mid-wars are Ring of Sorcery, of course. Try have at least one or two on your team, because it will keep up your mana really well. It's a good team item, and Ring of Sorcery isn't as good if you're using it alone, but really good when you're using it for teammates, and S2 has made an accent on it quite a lot. The competitive players think the same, and of course the nerf to the mana cost indicates the same too. So other good items are Ring of the Teacher, that I also have in this video, and Refreshing Ornament, which I also have in my inventory actually. So just the health regen and the armor, very useful in mid-wars. So let's move on to talking about Riftwalker now. So pretty cool hero, I would say. Riftwalker is a support hero, okay? He is a support hero. He can also be an initiator and counter initiator, but not too much, I would say. Not too, because the range is a bit low and it's not that easy to land. But yeah, it's a support hero. Don't freaking try play him as some kind of semi-carry. Like, I can't understand if people play Elonia as some kind of semi-carry. They get some items to deal damage, they get some mana regen items because she has low cooldowns, she has a lot of magic damage, she can keep dealing magic damage. Yeah, okay, for Elonia it can work. Not for Riftwalker. Don't play this hero in a solo lane if you can. Because, yeah, it's not... She has absolutely no scalability, and she's also not mana, item independent. Well, she's mana independent too. If you just preserve your mana, you will most of the time have enough mana to use all of your skills if you're not spamming them to clear out creep waves. And really, you don't really need that many items. Your strength gain is decent, and if you don't put yourself in a terrible position, which you have two skills with incredible range, your ultimate and your first skill, then you shouldn't have problems really. So this hero doesn't really need items, but could use levels, I guess. But in any case, it's a support hero. Don't think of it as some kind of carry. It can the hero can also push well. I was thinking there, should I call her he or she? I guess in this video it's he, but usually Riftwalker is a she. But in any case, next thing on my list here, which mentioning my list already makes this video about 5% worse, I would say. In the video, in the Hero Spotlight video, we saw that someone from S2 mentioned, and well, it didn't have to be someone from S2, but someone was farming using your first and third skills on the neutral camps, and I kind of don't think that that's the best idea, because again, you're a support hero and you don't really need that farm Someone else, some carry is probably better off using it. So please don't use your first and third skills to farm too much in the jungle. Like, don't go all testy mode and farm with this hero, because testy, probably if he played Riftwalker, he would farm. But you're not really a carry, so you're not gonna carry with your damage, either magic or physical, doesn't matter. So try not to farm too much. Attack animation of Riftwalker is pretty good. You've probably got used to it in this video by now. I think it's pretty good, and the missile speed is also pretty good. Damage is okay, so last hitting shouldn't be too much of a problem, and well, harassing should also be pretty okay, although her damage is not that high, but it's okay, so no complaints there, unlike with Soul Reaper, which people still trying to prove to me that this hero is good or something. Really? The only mode where that hero is good is like mid-wars, because all 5 enemy heroes always stay near you and your second skill can work. But another drink. This video is quite long, isn't it? So let's take a look at her first skill. It deals damage. It has a crazy range of 1200, so much more than your usual skills. It's not as hard to land as you can see here. It's pretty easy to land, and well, damage it deals is good, but it's not something uber overpowered, but it's decent. So decent, easy to land skill that sets up enemy heroes for perhaps your ultimate or other heroes to use their AoE skills. An interesting mechanic, I really like it. The mana cost is pretty low, so you shouldn't have mana troubles casting it. I just really like this skill in general. It's probably one of the first skills that was made for this hero when it was designed, because it just feels and works really, really well and fluent. So that's a really good skill. Her second skill is not that good. It's just a generic slow of one target, which Hellbringer also has that, but this slow depends on the damage the enemy takes. So if the enemy doesn't take any damage, the slow is worse than Hellbringer's. If it does, then it's a bit better perhaps, but the duration is really, really small. Here I suicide to transmute this time, because I think that's a valid strategy in mid-wars, just suicide, not give the enemy any experience or gold, but revive yourself and just heal up and go back into action. So second skill, it can be used as a slow, but I think it's not that good because the mana cost as well, 75 mana for an okay-ish slow. The cooldown is also pretty high on lower levels, so I thought that this skill could perhaps be used to counter Nullstone. Yeah, as odd as it sounds, if someone has a Nullstone, just pop your second skill and dispel it. Really, that skill is not that good, at least in mid-wars. I don't think so. Well, it's not useless by any means, no, but it's just not worth maxing out, sometimes even grabbing. In mid-wars, of course, I max out my first and third skill, because, well, AoE damage is pretty important in mid-wars, but in a normal game I would go a different build that I will tell you about later. In any case, we move on to the third skill, which although deals quite low damage over time at the start and okay-ish damage over time at the end, it has an inner circle, you see, when I try cast the skill, and when you cast the skill initially, it deals damage in that inner circle, and that damage is actually really, really good. It's pretty high. It's 50, 100, 150, 200 magic damage you deal in that inner circle right away. So you get 50 damage per level, which compared to your first skill, that gets 60 damage per level. So it's almost as good as the first skill in instant damage. But you know, there's also the damage over time. It can be used also to push lanes, which I think is a good use for this skill, to just try push the lane or stop a push. Damage over time, and perhaps in combination with a good lane partner that slows or stuns, it can be used to deal a lot of damage. But yeah, I'll talk about it a bit more when I discuss my skill build. So this is a pretty good skill. The only drawback when compared to the first skill is that its range is much lower. It's 600 on normal skill range. And her ultimate, finally her ultimate blinks and deals damage, applies a superior magic stun which goes through magic immunity, which seems to be, like people mention, she's a good counter initiator, but really the only hero that uses a shrunken head and initiates for a few seconds is Tempest. So specifically to counter Tempest, the purpose of this hero, well, Tempest is picked competitively a lot and he's considered a really strong hero, so I don't really mind that, just adding more options to the game. So that is good. But more than a counter initiation, I think this skill can just be used for normal follow-up damage. Like when you see the enemy team when they're already fighting, or when they're grouped up and like stuff is happening in the screen, no one's paying attention to you, Riftwalker, where you're standing in the background somewhere, you can use your first skill and then in combination with the second one to set up a good stun and some just good damage. As initiation, not really the best skill, because the enemy team really has to forget about you for it to work. But you know, you can try it as initiation, but the range is pretty low, I would say, and the cast time is 2 seconds. You have to channel it, and you can't get interrupted. So if the enemy catches a glimpse of you, that could be bad, but you know, it's a decent skill. Can be used for initiation, but just a good follow-up skill for damage. And since the cooldown is pretty low, I really don't mind the skill being used as an escape mechanism. Like really just blinking away when you're in trouble. The cast time is pretty big, so if you don't die in that time, then it can be a good escape mechanism. So I think I've mentioned everything, so let's move on to the skill build. Of course, this is a mid-wars game. As I said, I max out my Q and E because I need AoE damage, and I max out my Q more because that's the skill I will be landing most of the time, and it has a really safe range. And if I max out my E, I would have to put myself in danger every time I try to use it, which I will not do now because I'm out of mana, but there you saw. The AoE on your ultimate is actually pretty big, but in any case, in a normal game, I would usually grab one level of my first skill, and I would prefer to max out my third skill first, because, well, the AoE of the first skill and the pull pretty much stays the same on every level, and the damage is best on level 1 as well. But your third skill damage, if you max it out over your first one, you will be dealing more damage with your E. Like, it will deal more damage. Even if the enemy starts running away, it will be the same damage, but if it doesn't, it will be more. So, just, I think, a better idea to max out your E. And do you want to grab one level of your W? Well, that's up to you. That's extra mana you have to spend on a questionable slow. If you have the extra mana somehow, or your lane partner perhaps doesn't have a good slow, then yeah, grab one level of your second skill. But your second skill is really good on level 1. It's 20% slow initially, up to 40%, which the maximum slow is achieved if you damage the target 5 times. As mentioned in the Spotlight video, damage over time does not count, but just normal damage, auto attacks or just skills 5 times is when this skill becomes most efficient. I mean, gains the maximum movement speed slow, which is 40% level 1 and then increased by 10% per level up to 70 at level 4. So only 10% per level or 40% on level 1. Of course, it's a good idea to only grab the skill once and not max it out, but I wouldn't mind if you grabbed your Q over W and just left it till level 9. I mean level 10. And yeah, I'm starting to die already. So that's for my skill build. Max out E. If you can, grab one level of your W, then max out Q, then W, of course. And grab your ultimate when you can. Of course, it's a really good skill in general. Save your skills when you can. Try not to push too hard, but if you need to push, you'll need some mana to back it up. But if you just save your skills, you should have enough mana to cast your skills most of the time. Really, I don't see a big problem with that. This hero. Now let's move on to the item build. Item build, I prefer to go for armor boots on this hero, not just because it's mid wars, but in general, steam boots, people get it not just for the hit points it gives, but it's also good on semi-carry heroes that have attack speed, and well, this hero doesn't really have the need for attack speed because you won't be dealing much damage with your auto attacks. So armor boots give you some good stats, give you some good armor too, like just permanent passive armor, which is really good. Don't underestimate armor. But it's this is one of the easy ways to get armor. Getting armor is actually pretty hard because not many items are worth picking up that give armor. So armor boots, yeah, and since your third skill can be used for pushing, I believe, and counter pushing too, I think armor boots go really well with that, just to help you assist in the push. So, and it also gives more movement speed than steam boots. So go for armor boots if you can, or striders if you are having problems with gold. Striders are also decent. Tablet of Command, of course, is a really good item because it gives you intelligence, and since you have no real escape mechanism, well, your ultimate is an escape mechanism, but it's not instant and it's pretty unreliable. Tablet of Command really helps with that. So Tablet of Command is just a really good support item on this hero. Another good support item is Astrolabe, which I got in this video. It gives you a lot of HP. It gives you like quite a bit of survivability, which, although is good in this hero, is not really necessary. The better effect is that you can heal your teammates. It's just a good support item. That's where you get it usually. So next we have Storm Spirit. Is a potential pickup. I don't know, you can pick up Storm Spirit. It could be used to set up your first and ultimate skills quite well, I think, and just a good support item. You can use it on your allies that are in trouble, and it gives you some good mana regen, which you can use to push better, I think. And okay, you can deal more damage to heroes too, but yeah, just a good item in general, Storm Spirit. For late game, if you got to late game, Frostfield Plate is a really good item because your third skill, it slows, right? I mean, not slow, it deals damage in an AoE with increased damage over time, and slows really help that. Any kind of slow items are really good in this hero, and of course, you're not gonna get a nullifier blade just for this low, especially on this hero, Riftwalker. So instead, go for Frostfield Plate. It's really good to follow up your initiation when you initiate, or follow up, initiate, whatever. When you use your ultimate and just appear in the middle of all enemies, just use your Frostfield Plate. It applies the slow. If you use your E as well, that will deal more damage since they will be slow and it will take them more time to get away. And yeah, just Frostfield Plate, it works real well. It gives you some armor, some intelligence. Just really good item for this hero. Another item I'd like to mention is Coulter's Sheepstick for the slow. Well, it's just a good support item if you can get it, but it's really, really late game. But, you know, I think in terms of slows, and Coulter's Sheepstick brings your enemies to a crawl, like minimum movement speed, so it will be harder for them to get out of your third skill when you sheep them. Another drink, and another video made a bit worse. Anyway, yeah, Coulter's Sheepstick, just a good support item, and really good in this hero because of synergy with her third skill. And even the first one just becomes much easier to land them and set everything up. Another item is Hellflower, which, yeah, is good in any hero. As I said, just a good support item, good mana regen. Although, I have to say, not the best item on this hero because this hero is really not about auto attacks. That's kind of a problem. So, but you can get Hellflower if you want. Just good item, special since your intelligence will benefit you more. And I think that's about it for item builds, and you should be fine. For early game items, ring your teacher, and since you're you're mainly support, don't forget, get wards in this hero, buy all the wards you can. You don't really need items if you just keep your positioning good, and if you have a tablet of command, really you don't need much more. Like armor boots and tablet of command, all you need in this hero, and perhaps ring your teacher, and you're set for the game, really. Just get wards, it's important. Support players wards, like really, buying a ward and placing it at the rune once every really like 3 minutes pretty much gives you the excuse to play as bad as you want. Like really, that's how support players work most of the time. Like you can play as bad as you want, just place those wards, man, really. So here you can see I tried to use my second skill to cancel the null stall. That's my use. A tablet of command can also be used to cancel the null stall, remember that. And also in mid wars you can use your tablet of command to move up hill here. That is actually a, well, not ramp, but what do you call it? Your base is actually uphill compared to the teleporter, like when you teleport, so you can't just go there with tree walking. You actually need to teleport there somehow, either with a portal key or with a tablet of command. So in any case, support hero. So I think that Riftwalker is overall actually a pretty fun hero. I was kind of skeptical at first because, you know, the design process behind this hero. Hey, guys, let's make a hero that is based in black holes. And there you go, Riftwalker. But, yeah, no, I thought her skills don't have much synergy. It's like kind of forced synergy, but they kind of flow with each other. Kind of do. And something I'd like to mention about her second skill, I believe I haven't done this yet, is in the beta client leaks, super beta client, like the super beta con changes. I've said super beta 4 times now. That is so horrible. But in any case, there the second skill also reduced magic armor. So they decided to remove it, I guess because it was a bit too strong, too good, but now the skill is a bit too lackluster. Like really, you'd have to be crazy to max it out over your other skills, but you know, perhaps even going stats before maxing out W could be a good idea. So they removed it, perhaps this hero was too strong. As of the hero state now, I think this hero is pretty good, like balanced, not overpowered, not underpowered. She has her uses, just good design, pretty fun to play as well, just using your first skill and stuff. So if you want to buy Riftwalker, then I suggest just go for it, pretty much. Good hero, the avatar is also nice. Really, I don't know, there's something special about this hero. I'm not sure what it is, but it just feels really good. So happy that this hero came out. As for the difficulty, the difficulty on the website is mentioned as 4 out of 5, and I would say it's not as hard as say Elonia, because with Elonia it's really hard to land your skills and you have to keep your mana up all the time, but it's pretty hard to land your skills. You need to know when to cast them, but the AoE is pretty high, so you won't have too much trouble. Perhaps because this is mid-wars, it's a bit easier to land your skills, but in general I don't think you'll be having too much trouble. The hero is kinda hard to play, but not too hard, so if you missed your ultimate, try not to worry too much. The cooldown is low and it is a skill shot with a channel time, so if you miss it, it's not something like, oh my god, I missed my ultimate, I wasted everything, lost. No. If you miss your ultimate, it's okay. It's not too bad. Really, your ultimate is like a bonus skill. It's not easy to land, so don't worry about it. The cooldown is low. Just use it when you can, and it's gonna be fine, I think. So use it perhaps on enemy carries that use fronting head to just disable them, just for the disable, not for the damage, because there aren't really many superior magic stuns in the game apart from physical skills. So when laning, of course, choose a good lane partner with you. You need someone with disables or slows. You can go top, you can go bottom, it doesn't matter, but have someone who can slow the enemy down while it's taking more and more damage in your E. And yeah, this hero is pretty good for pushing, as I said, and stopping pushes as well with her third skill, but I repeat myself, don't spend too much time farming. So I'll explain a bit of my item. I think that covers most of the stuff I want to say about Riftwalker. I'll explain my item choices a bit in this game. I went for Mock of Brilliance because your third skill deals damage over time and your first skill kind of groups people up, so I thought just stacking more magic damage on top of that would be nice, and I think it worked out pretty well. Plus, Mock of Brilliance, people don't forget, it gives you evasion actually, so 8% of attacks, physical attacks, you will evade them, so it's kind of used against carries potentially. Especially good in mid-wars since everyone's carry pretty much. So Behemoth's Heart, yeah, I would get Behemoth's Heart in a normal game if I could, if I had the gold, because it's one of the best survivability items in the game. The health regen it gives is insane, and the amount of health it gives is also really good. The reason actually not the reason yet, because I still have the item in my inventory, but I'll mention it later. Another item is Assassin Shroud, because obviously I'm going for Genjiro here. It gives you good attack speed, it gives you good armor too. It's one of the best late game items in the game now. Before Genjiro was added, yeah, your Assassin Shroud wasn't really that good of a late game item, but now it's pretty good, I think. Almost always worth getting if you have the crazy amount of gold. So also another thing to mention in mid-wars is that people don't usually counter invisibility that much. And also I think that's the reason why it was added to the Transmutus time kill. Just an extra way to counter invisibility, because people need those inventory slots. It's really important. Every inventory slot matters, so you can't really afford to waste it on something that counters invisibility. My advice though, if you want to counter invisibility, would be to perhaps get a courier and get a mana item on him, like the Pickled Brain that gives mana, and get Words of Revelation. Just place them everywhere you can, all over the map. Words of Revelation is the way, I think, to counter in mid-wars. Counter invisibility, that is. So I believe in another game I placed like 6 Words of Revelation all over the map, but they do run out pretty fast, only after 3 seconds. Getting a Bound Eye, I really don't think that's a good idea, because nobody really wants to carry a Bound Eye. It's not like, oh, someone dropped a Bound Eye, I gotta get it. Most likely, when you see a Bound Eye, someone will just kill it on the ground just to prevent you from revealing. Unfortunately. Also, Wards is a really good item in mid-wars. Just place it mid. Don't really remember if I placed it mid this game, but you can't do that. So yeah, I don't think this game is over yet. Yeah, I died, so it's not over yet, but it will be. In any case, what's my goal? It's pretty freaking high. So Astrolabe, I will actually sell Astrolabe shortly. I believe I will sell it as soon as I revive. Will I? Yeah. I will sell Astrolabe because I thought about item choices. Tablet of Command is really good because it helps me cancel null stones on enemies, and I can also move up the ramp or uphill when going back to base to heal. So also I don't really have an escape mechanism, so the item is quite useful. I really didn't want to get rid of my tablet. Other possible choices of selling, well, I didn't want to sell my boots, obviously. Knockout Brilliance is also really good. Genjuro and Behemoth's Heart out of question here. A lot of heroes jumped me here, but as you can see, I just went invisible and nobody had any revelation, which is very, very often the case in mid-wars. So Astrolabe, although it heals for 200 health and it's a good support item, I decided that, well, it's not the best item for super late game, so that's why I decided to sell it. It's only 200 health, and late game that's not really too much. And this is an amazing turnaround game. Well, not really turnaround, but I mean they had better carries and we managed to win it. I just kept my cool, stayed near experience range, applied all of the tips I mentioned to myself, and I think it was nice. Here I look over all the achievements, and I get the consumable achievement because I really bought a lot of potions and used them on my allies. That's Riftwalker, what I think about her. Not sure if I'll do a video of her in a normal game, but I mean, she's just a support, and I explained my skill build and item build already, so I'll show you how she is played, how fun she can be. I think I did everything good there. Also, another mid-wars game. Also, did I mention this? I think I forgot to mention the problem with shaders. There was a problem with shaders where people complained that the game actually looks darker in the latest videos. This problem, S2 developer commentated on it. It actually fixes itself after a few games, and they will fix it permanently in the future too. So after a few games, your game brightness will be back to normal. Don't worry about it. So that's that. That's all the achievements. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, and tell me in the comments what do you think about it, like compared to a live commentary. This commentary still is kind of weird. I still try to do it live. Like, I only have general pointers in my list, but I don't have like a full text to say, and I'm not really experiencing it. But tell me what you think. Was this video better or worse? I think I talk about a lot of stuff. Anyway, see ya.